My name is Craig Lind. I'm a university lecturer in law at the University of Sussex in Brighton. I've been working in the UK for over 20 years. I came to the UK to study family law at the postgraduate level and then found a job teaching family law and have never left. Family law, of course, is about the relationships between individuals, particularly about the rights that derive when people have problems with the people to whom they are related. I'm interested in the relationship that adults have with one another. How do people go about arranging to have their children? What are the consequences of making those arrangements, particularly in the more difficult circumstances of assisted reproduction, where doctors can assist people to bring children into the world? We have to, of course, work out how lawyers respond. It's not just a bunch of practicing lawyers deciding for themselves who the parents of children should be. And in the UK, we've had two major pieces of legislation, one in 1990, one in 2008, which was to determine who the parents of children would be where donor sperm and donor eggs were being used. So our 1990 legislation basically reallocated parenthood. For the first time, we said that the parents would be the people who raised the child and people we knew were not genetically related to the child. What the law in 2008 did was to catch up. All it did was to recognize that those people who were having children in these ways were in fact parents of children. It really becomes problematic for lawyers when donors start to be involved. So when people donate their sperm or people donate eggs to other couples to have children. And in those instances, we have to determine what the relationship is between the sperm donor or the egg donor and the child, what the relationship is between the commissioning couple and the child, and what should happen to the people who are the donors of parts of the procreative genes. In the old days of infertility, we were only really concerned about married couples. But the world has moved on. There are lots of people who live together without getting married. There are lots of people who want children without having a partner. And then, of course, there are same-sex couples. So if a lesbian couple went to a clinic and decided to have children, they would clearly have to use donor sperm. We would have a child born as a result of the one woman carrying the child, using her own eggs and carrying the child using donor sperm. She would be the mother, but what would be the person who accompanied her? What would be her partner? What status, I suppose, would be her partner? The regulation of assisted reproduction has become quite international. We are interested in the ways in which other states are doing it, simply because lots of the problems of assisted reproduction are becoming internationalized. People are crossing boundaries to have children. Young people should grow up in a world in which they have views on how assisted reproduction and the various medical techniques that are going to develop are going to affect the legal status of parents and the relationships that parents and children have with each other. And in particular, of course, the relationship that children have with people who are genetically related to them, but who are not their parents. If you're minded to study in the UK, you might also find a similar, I suppose, framework for study in North America. No matter where you studied, either in the UK or in Canada or in the US, or possibly in most other jurisdictions in the English-speaking world, you would come to know something of those other jurisdictions anyway.